In today's video, we're going to tie a simple little bass popper. The first thing we're going to do is start off the Gamakatsu B10S hook in a size 1 and some 3/0 heavy duty thread from Uni. And I'm just going to use black thread, and we're going to tie this popper today in Chartreuse and black. So I've got my popper head to match. You can buy these pre-made, ready to go. This is to fit a size 1 hook to match our B10S, and you can see that it leaves a little bit of room there at the back for our tail and our hackle. So as we tie this fly, you have to be careful that you don't overdo it and tie too far forward into the head of the popper. So we're going to tie a weedless popper. So I'm going to take some 20-pound hard mono, and we're just going to tie this in along the top of the shank of the hook. Some nice tight wraps, and I'm actually going to wrap down the bend, keeping it centered on top of the hook. And then we'll just let that kind of hang off the back, just kind of out of my way. Then we're going to take 4 Grizzly neck hackles. I'm going to take 2 of them and I'm going to put them together so that the curve lines up nice, and then I'll take 2 more and also line them up just like that. Now when I tie these in, I want the feather to kind of splay away from the hook. I want my tails to be the length of the entire hook, so I just kind of roughly measure out the length of the tails and I peel back the extra fibers, just exposing my little tail. Now we're going to tie these in on each side of the shank of the hook. You want to keep them centered right on each side of the hook, just like that. Then we do the same thing on the other side with the feather splaying away from my other feather. Make sure you get them mated up right, perfectly up against each other, and that you have the right length as well. And you can lash it to your hook. And sometimes you get one that doesn't want to cooperate and it rolls on you. So let's see if we can force it to cooperate with us. There we are. Then you have your tails formed there. You can trim out the butt ends of those feathers. What I like to do is just kind of make sure that I still have some room there. I have a little bit of room for my black hackle. So I'm going to take 2 black hackle feathers from a rooster cape. I'm going to peel back just a little bit of the fluff, exposing the stem. And I'm going to tie these in right here at the back of the hook. And I can take that hackle and I'm just going to wrap that hackle around the shank of the hook here. First wrap I try to get nice and tight up against the tail, and each wrap right in front of the next. And you can capture it with your thread. Trim out the excess. And I like to kind of sweep it all back out of the way and lay down a couple really nice, well-placed tight wraps right up against some of those fibers. Then you can take your thread forward. Make sure your head, yep, got it about perfect there. And I'll take my wraps almost all the way forward. I'll stop just about an eye's length short of the eye, and then I'll put in some kind of rough wraps, some overlapping, kind of ugly, gnarly wraps. And that just is going to give something for that popper to stick to. Then I'm going to take some Zap-A-Gap. I'm going to apply a fairly generous amount of Zap-A-Gap all over those thread wraps. Then I'm going to take my popper here, I'm just going to slide it over the entire thread wraps and kind of center it. See, try that again here. And center it right on the hook. You have about 20-30 seconds here to work with it. So once you get it where you want it, you just take the whole thing, give it a nice firm pinch together, and hold it there. It takes about 20-30 seconds for this stuff to set. So just hold it there nice and firm, and pinch deep into the body too. Don't just pinch right up against the underside. Pinch all the way up here deep into the body to get it to stick to all that thread. You can also use epoxy for this as well. Super glue is a little faster. Probably doesn't hold quite as well. Epoxy is probably a little more durable. And there is your popper fixed to the hook. And now we're ready to tie in our mono weed guard. So I'm just going to sneak my thread up right up against the eye of the hook. I mean, you literally have to sneak in there. It takes a little bit of practice. Then you can take your hook off the vise real quick and just kind of let that mono loop follow around your hook. Leave a little bit extra loop there. You don't want to go all the way tight up against the hook, so leave a little bit of slack there. And you can bite down with your thread and get that mono secured. There we go. Then to finish the head, you can lay some super glue around the mono. Now this popper isn't pretty, it's not painted, it's not lacquered, but these foam popper bodies float, in my opinion, and fish a lot better than the cork painted ones. Now we're going to take our bodkin, we're going to make some legs here. I'm just going to take it and push it right through the body. Try to get it as perpendicular to the body as you can. And if you don't get it quite straight, just pull it back out and try it again. That's pretty close. Then you take a threader, using just a Griffin threader here, slide it all the way through the foam. Then we're going to take some round rubber legs. I'm going to take a set of 3. You could also use 2, you could use 4. I found 3 is kind of an easy amount to work with and pull through the body. So I'm going to take a strand of 3 and just leave them together. I'm going to tie a little knot right in the middle of all of them. Just a simple overhand knot and pull it tight. I'm just going to drop the legs in the threader. Then I'm going to pull them very slowly and carefully through the body. There we go. I'm going to pull that knot towards the body. Then I'm going to take a little bit of super glue and put it right on that knot. And I'm going to suck this knot just by pulling on my side here. I'm just going to suck it right into the body. And that knot is going to kind of give that foam something to grip to. And you can just wipe off any of the excess super glue. And it'll take 20-30 seconds for that super glue to catch and stick. So carefully you can take your fingers here and grab both legs. Pull them down. I like to trim them all the way to the back of the hook. There we go. And then you can split the legs apart. I just use my scissor points. You could also use a bodkin. Just split them apart. That way they'll wiggle and jiggle just like you want them to. And that is a simple but still deadly popper pattern. Like I said, it's not fancy, it's not painted, it's not pretty, but they fish, in my opinion, just as good, and you can tie a lot of them and fill your box nice and quick. I don't even glue eyes on mine, at least the ones that I like to fish. I don't think it really makes a big difference personally, but if you wanted to glue some eyes on there, you just take a little bit of super glue and of course just glue them right onto the side. If you're trying to tie them to impress your buddies or make them look fancy, then of course you definitely want to put eyes on them, and that is a simple foam popper.